Hello, welcome to Fabulous Food. Today we're going to be making Kate's cookies, and the thing for you to find out is who Kate is. And the clue I'm going to give you is she's a member of the teaching staff at St Joseph's. The first thing we need to do is to preheat the oven to 180 degrees C or 160 if you've got a fan oven. And then you need to line a baking tray, so find a nice flat tray like this one and a piece of baking parchment or greaseproof paper just fits in nicely there to stop the biscuits sticking to the tin. So now we need to weigh out our first ingredients into a bowl. Pop the bowl on the scales, set the scales to 0, and we want to weigh in 75 grams of margarine, and 75 grams of brown sugar. So it can be dark brown sugar. I've got light brown sugar here. If you haven't got brown sugar, don't worry, you can just use white. I'm going to take the bowl off the scales so we don't break the scales. Get a nice wooden spoon and then just break the butter down against the side of the bowl and begin to incorporate the sugar into it. The softer your butter is, or your margarine, the easier this job is. And keep going until both ingredients are creamed together. You'll just need to scrape the mixture off the wooden spoon at various points, as you'll find it sticks. And keep mixing until you can't see any streaks of yellow margarine left in your mixture. So now we need to beat in the egg and the vanilla. So get yourself something to crack an egg into. Give it a tap, pop your fingers in, pull the egg apart like that. Make sure it all goes in the jug, and then you just need to beat that gently with a fork. So we're just mixing the egg yolk in with the egg white. And then into the same jug I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Give it a little gentle whisk and then add it to our margarine and sugar mix. And now we're going to beat the egg and vanilla mix into the margarine sugar mix. So it will be a bit slimy to start with. Scrape all the mixture down from the side of the bowl so everything gets incorporated. Don't forget to scrape it off of the spoon. And then mix again. Once it's all mixed together, we can add the flour. So, bowl back on the scales, set them to 0, and weigh in 150 grams of self-raising flour. And before you mix the flour in, we're also going to add the chocolate chips and the dried fruit. So, set the scales to 0 again. We want 60 grams of chocolate chips, set the scales to 0, and 60 grams of dried fruit. And I've got sultanas here, but it can be any dried fruit that you've got in the cupboard. So bowl off the scales again, and a final mix of all the ingredients. And it should come together now and look like a biscuit dough. So scraping around the outside of the bowl and turning the ingredients into the middle of the bowl, and that stops them flying off the edge and onto your worktop. Go around the edge, make sure you've got all the flour and all the buttery mix. Don't want to waste anything. Use a knife just to clean the mix off the spoon. And then your biscuit dough should be all mixed together like that. So now we need to put spoonfuls of the mixture onto our baking tray. So take a spoonful like that on one spoon, and using another spoon, just scrape it onto your tray. And you need to remember that these are going to spread out as they cook, so you need to leave some space in between each one. And you must make sure that they're all the same size so that they bake through at the same rate. Otherwise you'll have some that aren't cooked at all and others that are burnt or overcooked. So I've got 6 cookies on this tray, and I've got 2 more on the 2 more on this tray, so I've made 8 altogether. That's fine at home because you can use 2 oven shelves, but if we're at school you can only have 1 shelf each, so we'd make them slightly bigger. So now I'm going to put them in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and check them and see if they're cooked, and if not I'll give them a few minutes extra. So I've just taken my cookies out of the oven. They actually needed 15 minutes, and I know they're cooked because they're beginning to brown around the edges now. It's got a lovely golden colour on the top, but they're not really brown because I don't want them to be overcooked. And as they cool down, they'll set harder. So these are perfect. I hope that you enjoy making Kate's cookies, and show us some pictures on the Google Classroom and let us know when you've worked out who Kate is. Bye bye.